welcome in house. It's been a couple weeks in the process of trying to get you in here, man.
I know. I had to pull your legs to actually have me come in here today, man.
You can get up on that mic here. Bring that closer, and then you tilt yourself. You want to be dead center.
Okay.
You want to be dead center with the microphone, so this way you could do it. But we got the video,
perfect,
and we obviously have the audio, so we're live. That's it, man. This is how we started off.
That's it. So welcome, guys, to another episode of The Voice
and Rizzles. Today in house, we have my man, Steve Laureus. And this has been something that I've been trying to put together for a couple of weeks. Unfortunately, I got sick, and then we had to do some rescheduling. So luckily enough, everybody's schedule worked today. And super pumped to have you in here because, you know, we've known each other for a few years. I think you have a very great and interesting and inspirational story and where you came from, what you've been through, and what brought you into bodybuilding. And in just a short, what is it, 2 years?
2 years, yeah.
2 years?
That's crazy.
Already one of the top competitors in the world, sitting out here looking like a fucking statue. But I love it, man. So welcome to the show, man.
Well, thank you, Nick. Thank you for having me. John, thank you so much, bro.
Of course, Steve. Happy to have you.
So those are the guys that I see every day in the gym. Just to have me coming here and do this, I'm so excited, you know, to talk about my story and just to have fun here today.
That's all it is, man. Just a conversation, just having a good time.
You know, we're the lucky ones because people line up for how many hours to shake your hand and say, guys, I have a picture with Steve Laureus.
And we just get to see you every day and hang out with you, and I get to shoot videos and photos.
And get picked on by this guy right there.
Oh, yeah, Nick's an asshole.
All the time. I get bullied around.
Sitting over here acting like I'm a bully. But
Nick, put the knife away.
Yeah, shut up. It's for the video people, the only ones that knew I had it. But I wanted to... yeah, man, I wanted to just get you in here, talk a little bit about your background. Now, not a lot of people know. I know just in talking to you and doing videos with you, I know that you are not originally from the States. And sometimes people comment on your accent and stuff like that. And
right.
I know you spent some time in France. And just if you want to touch a little bit about your background and where you came from originally.
Well, basically, I'm from Haiti. My parents are Haitian, and I was living in France for a while, and then I moved to New York when I was 12, 13, I can't remember. But yeah, and then we lived in Brooklyn for, I think about, I would say 5 years, and then we moved out here, Long Island.
Okay. And you were in France, and how'd you like France, man?
It's pretty nice, man. We live in a place called Versailles.
The Palace of Versailles.
And then there was another, and then we moved from south part of France, and after that my parents decided they wanted to come here and live here.
All right.
It's one hell of a journey.
Yeah, man. It's cool, man. I visited.
I didn't speak any English when I came here. So I had to force myself, like within like maybe a year, you know, I was getting by with conversations and stuff like that with school.
Did you speak French in Haiti?
Yes.
Was it, I could be totally wrong. Is it Creole?
Creole and French. My parents speaks more French than Creole. So basically Creole is a broken French, but I think a person that is highly educated in Haiti doesn't really use Creole terms. They don't really use Creole. It doesn't sound attractive actually to, let's say you're trying to talk to a girl that is highly educated in Haiti. You're going to use Creole words, she's not going to even look you away, you know? So you got to charm her with some French words first, you know, then she'll probably give you, you know, what you deserve, you know? So, but it's just how it goes, man. But yeah, but been living on the state now, and Long Island is a good place. Brooklyn is more crowded, and, you know, it's mixed in with different cultures and people from the Caribbean. You know, I miss it too, because I feel like sometimes, you know, it's good to be mixed in with the crowd, you know, like it's
melting pot. It's nice, man. I love me some oxtail. Oxtail's fucking incredible.
The Jamaican oxtail is the bomb.
Yeah, man. I'm all about the blending cultures, and
but that shit will get you fat if you eat it so much.
What if I'm already fat?
I think it's good food, but at the same time, you know, that goes into your system. You eat it a lot, you know, forget it.
That's usually how it goes, though. The better something tastes, the worse it is for you. So when you came to the States around 13, right? 12, 13?
Yeah.
So, and you spoke no English. So how was school for you when you first came here?
School wasn't hard for me, to be honest, because in Brooklyn, you know, with the mixed cultures, there's a lot of Haitian kids, there's a lot of Jamaican, American kids. So we pretty mixed in. And I was able to get by because they had this thing, I think it's called ESL, English as Second Language, back then. So that class definitely speed up the process of learning the language, you know, and also hanging out with kids every single day. You pick up words, you know, you pick up words very fast. And I was younger too, so it's easier for my brain to adapt to the language. It's a new territory for me, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And what got you into bodybuilding? That's the golden question, right? That's what everyone, you know, that's what
I know that one was coming soon.
The only reason people are tuning in right now.
No, you know, we have a lot of people that listen, obviously. The majority of the people that listen to the podcast and tune in and ask questions are bodybuilding fans, are fitness enthusiasts, are people that follow the sport or have some type of passion for it. So we also have people that like the intellectual side, like the background side, like to hear that, you know, you came from humble beginnings. It wasn't always tip top at the top, because, you know, when the spotlight's on you and, you know, you're doing big things at the Arnold and the Olympia and stuff like that, people only see the end result. It's the same thing when you're in like a prep and, you know, they don't see the 20 weeks, the 18 weeks of dieting. They just see that end result for 10 minutes on stage until they bring you back out. So
yeah, it's a very hard, like I did so many sports in my life. I played soccer, basketball, and I was good at every sport that I played in. But the only thing with bodybuilding is it's a 24-hour sport, and it's the most regimented, you know, sport I've ever done. You know, it's your life, your discipline. You know, if you don't have that, to be honest with you, I don't think it's the right way to go, because especially when you're working with a certain people, like my coach, you know, he doesn't tolerate bullshit. You know, like you got to be on your game 24/7. It's the hardest sport I've ever been in. You know, because sometimes your mind is not on that right state, man. You know, you want to fuck up on your diet. You want to do, you know, other things. You want to party. You want to do things, but you can't, because, you know, the guy that's going to beat you on stage is putting 100%. So if you're coming not 100%, those things are gonna come back. You're like, you know what? I fucked up. You know, when this guy was putting in work, I was partying. I was doing other things. I was cheating on my diet. So I have a lot of respect for bodybuilding, a lot of respect.
And for people who don't compete, or obviously not nearly Steve's level, when you're that lean, your mentality's going out the window at that point.
Absolutely.
It's pure dedication, just following a piece of paper. Because it's not even your mind saying, I want to cheat. Your body is screaming at you, saying, give me carbs, I need food. What the fuck are we doing? We're in an unnatural state. This is not healthy, and I'm not feeling too good.
Even when you're actually a natural competitor, just being on that diet deficit for that long, your body fat is ridiculously low. You're going to have some hormonal issues regardless.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
It's very hard on your physique. You know, it's just to actually dehydrate yourself, to go up there and do your thing. It's a lot of hard work, man. It's a lot of
you're taking the human body to an unnatural state.
Right.
I cut water for my show, man. That was some interesting shit. I was drinking 3 gallons of water, 2.5 gallons
you
up to the
competed,
show.
What, like 6 years ago, 5 years?
Oh God, so long. I competed in 2013 and 2014. So,
you did 2 years back.
I did two.
Back.
Yeah, I did 2 shows, man, and that was enough for me. I liked the sport. I respected it. I thought it was great. I just knew that I wasn't willing to go the extra mile to compete with a lot of the guys that I was going against. And this is, you know, men's physique days. This is before they had classic, and I was going against 212 bodybuilders that didn't want to show their legs.
They weren't ready to show their legs yet.
Dude, those guys were fucking humongous, man.
Crazy.
But I've done 2 preps, I've studied the sport, worked with some of the best athletes in the world, you included in that conversation. I've learned a lot. I've seen a lot behind the closed doors that a lot of people don't get to see, and it's always amazing with how crazy in love with the sport you have to be, otherwise you'll fall off.
Right.
Otherwise, you know, it's great that they dangle a check in front of you, but it's no Phil Heath check. It's no open bodybuilder check, you know? So not only are you doing it because of the financial additives that they give you, but you're also doing it because the main reason, you love the sport.
Right.
And you're a student of the sport, which is what I've said in multiple podcasts now. It's a big saying of mine. Mm-hmm. I think that anybody, especially, you know, videography, photography, bodybuilding, being a personal trainer, you have to be a student of your craft, and to get to that higher plane and that next level, which you're on there now. So
You couldn't describe it better. But well, actually, bodybuilding wasn't something that I wanted to do.
Really?
I didn't want to be a bodybuilder. You know, I never thought I had it in me actually to go up there and compete with other guys. You know, I love the sport. You know, I have idols that I admired that actually changed a lot of things about me. You know, especially Ronnie Coleman, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Those guys are. I love Ronnie because of his training system. You know, like that's what I would say. That's what actually built my physique. You know, the physique that I have today is basically all of his training. You know, I really, really admire that guy. And Arnold was the guy that, of course, if you watch Conan, you know, you go all the way back.
The godfather of the sport.
The guy looked awesome, man. You know, it's like, it's a look that you want to have, you know, walking everywhere, because you intimidate other people and you feel great about it because people want to look like you know? Mm-hmm. So anyways, it's like I came into the sport because actually I faced a really bad situation, like I would say 3 years ago. So I had a blood clot and I almost died from the blood clot. I was in a hospital for 11 days. And before that I did natural bodybuilding, and I did very well. So I won all shows I did naturally. And I took a pause. I would say I reversed. I didn't want to continue doing, you know, natural bodybuilding anymore, because I wasn't getting anywhere with it.
Yeah, you hit that ceiling.
I was winning shows. There was no hype. It was nothing about me, you know, and the guy was promising me like, oh, you know, you're going to be a star. You're going to be a star. We're going to do this. But nothing happened. So, and then I continued working as a therapist. You know, I worked on people like every single day that had injuries and stuff like that, but mostly myofascial release work and stuff. And I met Denise Pons, you know. When I first walked into the door, it was basically for posing. So she asked me if I ever competed at the NPC, and I said no, I never had, you know. And she was like, "You're wasting your time, you're wasting your talent." And then I think it was some sort of a joke. I'm like, "Come on, you know, like you've seen multiple people a week for posing. Like I have nothing special about me. Come on, stop, you know." But she was like, "No, seriously, they're gonna open up a new division. It's called Classic Physique. Jim Mannion is going to announce it," because she judges, you know. So she was like, I would love for you to skip the Musclemania universe, the Musclemania world, and just focus on that show, which is the very first Classic Physique show was the Metropolitan. That was the Mets was the first one they introduced. Is like 3 years ago, I think, right?
No, I think it's been around longer than that.
Yeah, 3 years ago.
3 years. 3 years.
3 years
the
ago.
Mets has only been around for 3 years?
The Classic.
No, the Classic.
Oh, Classic. Yeah.
So 3 years ago. So I was going to get ready for that show. Then I had the blood clot. So it was a complete reversed.
Wow.
And, you know, and Arash and everyone started doing it. They actually, those guys actually went with the sport, and they grew the Classic Physique what it is now. They were the first ones that actually competed, you know, that year, the New York Pro and the Olympia and stuff like that. Even the Olympia had like 11 competitors at the time.
Yeah, Danny Hester.
It was small.
Yeah.
Danny Hester took that first. We thought Arash was going to grab that. That was crazy.
It was a very, very close show, but, you know, I actually had Arash winning that show myself.
I did too.
Yeah. Because Arash looked amazing.
It's those West Coast guys. Dude, it's those West Coast guys, man.
It's not a gang. It's not a gang. It's just a respect, man. That's it, you know? So, and I met Justin Miller, and, you know, we worked for a while, and I turned pro with Justin, and I did a complete 360, meeting Neil through Redcon 1, and I started working with Neil for 6 months. So the whole thing with people, you know, like were saying that, oh, this guy can get lean, he's not going to be ready, he's not going to be ready. Actually, put that flame in me. I'm like, if everybody's going on stage dry, everybody looks good. I'm still an unexperienced bodybuilder, so it's going to take some time for a coach to really put the formula together to actually get a guy like me ready. Someone has to know my physique, you know? So Neil just figured it out, you know? He's like, you know what? It's been 6 months. We brought this look at the Arnold, and, you know, we're going to be working a lot longer now. We're going to have a great off season, and this is a division I believe you can win because of your proportions. He said there's a certain gaps that has to fill in, and we're not going to be doing it this year. It's going to take a while, a really long off season to really fill out a little bit. You know?
Which is the smart move, I'd say, taking your time and
absolutely
making sure, you know, bringing up any weak points.
People,
yeah.
People do 4, 5, 6 shows a year, so their body's in prep mode for 8 months. They're doing back-to-back shows,
right.
And they realize toward the end of the shows, their body starts to look worse and look worse. Then next year they bring the exact same package. But if you do 1 show, maybe 2 tops a year, and really take a big off season, people underestimate the power of it. The off season is, in my opinion, the true on season, because that's where the things happen. Prep just reveals what you did in the off season.
Yeah, because you prep yourself. Actually, you got yourself in a position that you're competing against professionals, right? And you have all the work right in front of you that you have to apply just to continue, like finish the work. And the off season is not that long for some guys, but me, I think a longer off season to really take your time to have that slow growth, you know, throughout the year is the best thing to do, because it's basically quality, you know. So I'm not going into a marathon. I'm just taking my time to really polish the look that you know, I think that can do some damage next year, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I actually want to go back to how we met, because you know exactly what I'm going to say. You know exactly what I'm going to say.
The negligent, unprepared bodybuilder, man. I had no discipline.
Fucking Steve. I get a call. Okay, like he knows. I get a call. It was Friday night. This dude was competing the next morning. Justin hits me up. He goes, "Hey man, listen, I gotta talk to you." I'm like, "What's up?" He goes, "I got a guy that one of my boys is competing tomorrow at his show, and of course he doesn't have posing music. He doesn't have anything." I go, "Does he know what he wants?" Kinda, but he hasn't like thought it through. I go, "What is he gonna do? Just fucking go out there and wing it?" I said, "What is this shit?" So Justin's like, "Listen, man, he's gonna be big. He's gonna be big. You just trust me." He's like, "I just need you to pull through and just get the." All right. So I got him the music. I think that was the show that they escorted you off stage because he didn't even need to pose against anybody else. That shit was crazy. I remember seeing that video, and I went, "Oh damn!" I thought he got in trouble. I thought he spit on a judge or something. all of a sudden, you just see competitor, whatever your number was. Yeah, you can just go.
Just fuck off. Let's figure who's getting second.
I thought I was disqualified. To be honest with you, I didn't know what was going on.
Just go get some food. Fuck the rest of the show. You're good. You won. Like, give him his medal. Just give it to him backstage.
Let him go home. He had a long day.
Yeah. I think that's called. I think it's called a step back. I think Phil Heath did that in 2004, and I think the only bodybuilder that had done it is Phil Heath, and Kevin Levrone actually did it in '91, I think, and myself. I didn't know what the hell the thing was. But
the Elite Three.
So I didn't know what it was, and when I got backstage, I was freaking out, and the guy was like, "No, just calm down. You won." And I said, "How did I win? I didn't even, you know." He's like, "No, you won. Just relax." And Justin came backstage and like excited, and I'm like, "Why are you excited? What the fuck? Like,
why are you excited? He just told me to leave."
So
nobody wanted to look at me.
It was a good experience, man. It was my first NPC show. I was
first NPC show.
Nervous.
They escort him off stage. Can you imagine me? I was standing on stage, sweating. My tan was dripping. They're like, "All right, 18th call out." Like, come on stage.
They're all on the phone, hand on the left.
I look down, I see Juan and Sean Andros like, "Oh, Jesus Christ, we're still judging these fucking kids." I was like, okay. But yeah, man,
you saved me that day, man. You saved me, man.
Oh, come on, man. That was the start of a friendship.
You could have posed a Barbie girl. I think you would have been all right.
Yeah. Imagine. I was listening to that a couple nights ago.
Imagine he just goes, hey Justin, you gotta do. Justin comes up to him, he's like, hey man, listen, Nick didn't pull through with the music. He couldn't get it to me in time. All right, I'm just gonna bang a steel drum on the side of stage left, and you just do some type of movement, and you'll be golden.
Yeah, man. It's I would say, all right, there's a lot of things in the beginning. I feel like some of the stuff with even Justin. I don't want to blame Justin for not bringing me in shape 100%, because I was starting out in bodybuilding. I didn't know how serious this thing was.
It takes time, like you said. It takes time for a coach to get used to your body and learn.
Time. Mm-hmm. So he's a great guy. I have nothing against Justin, and he actually got me to turn pro. And when I started working with Neil, I'm telling you, man, like it's something that if you would put it on camera to see how he acts, how I have to get up a certain time, I have to eat a certain, everything is about timing, man. And it make such a big difference. Timing, everything that's going into your body every single day, it's extremely important, especially for changes. If you're going to make some changes, if you're doing everything right, you're going to see within the blink of an eye how much it changed your look within 24 hours. But if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, when your coaches make these changes, you're not going to look anything. You're going to look the same, or your physique would just, reversed on the actual look they're looking for. But it's a lesson learned, man.
I remember being with Neil when I was with Flex for a little while, and very, very knowledgeable guy. Awesome to listen to him speak.
Yes.
Awesome to listen to how critical and every minute detail gets thought of, and why you're doing this, and why we're pushing this much sodium. It was a very interesting conversation to hear. And back when I was bodybuilding, when I was doing my shows, I would see Neil in the BSN magazines with Flex, and I always looked at it, I was like, oh, this is the Yoda, he's the guy. Yeah. It's crazy. And then being with him, it's like, wow, the reputation is pretty accurate. It's spot on. He knows what he's fucking talking about. He's a vet in the industry. And when you linked up with him, I was excited because I knew your physique plus his coaching would definitely do some awesome damage. And you've already proved that in one show together.
Yeah, there you
go. We can't really consider the Olympia last year your first show with him, because you were doing so much traveling, and I did
honestly, the Olympia last year, when I came back after the Olympia was done, when I went to Boca, and him and Flex was giving me shit, bro. Like they were like literally screaming and said, what the fuck were you thinking? Like, you don't do 16 flights in 8 weeks, if you have a big show like that going on. And I didn't know anything. Basically, it was my first Olympia, and it was my first year of real bodybuilding I'm talking about, and there's a lot of things that I didn't know. And for now on, like, he put a limit to that. He's like, listen, if you're going to do any competition, there's no traveling. Within 7 weeks of the show, everything has to be canceled. You have to be stationary somewhere, focus on your diet and your training and everything. But we didn't have an off season for the Olympia. To be honest with you, we didn't. And he was still trying to figure out, what works for me and what doesn't work for me. So it was basically a test. Sorry guys, I'm not trying to be cocky or overconfident here, but he didn't really know me, and I didn't really know him. So after that was done, we actually get to know each other. I started training with him, and I had to be 100% honest with a lot of things that even if I did something that I know that would piss him off, I would still tell him. And I would get shit from him. And I said, that's the reason why I'm telling you that, because this is what I did, So anyways.
That's
the best way to do it. I'd love to really pick his brain one day, though. You know what I mean?
If he's in town, I could definitely hit him up and try to get him on here. He's a very intense, awesome, interesting guy. He's
very knowledgeable.
Fucking funny as hell, man. He cracks me up.
Yeah,
I was playing pool with him at Flex's birthday party. We were just playing pool and just like shooting the shit. And he wiped the floor with me, like old school, like UK shit. Like he's back in a pub, just wiping me clean. I'm like, oh shit, I left my wallet at home. This is weird.
The dirty sex jokes he makes is the worst ones.
Oh, he's the best. He's hysterical.
To a point that I'm like, what the hell, man? I just didn't expect
I need a
that.
shower.
You don't expect it from him. He's the man.
So funny, man.
He's the man.
So funny.
Now, obviously, you went from your first amateur show, wiping the floor at the competition, to say the least.
Yeah.
And then you went to nationals.
Yeah.
You got first at nationals, correct?
No. I didn't win my class, but I still got my pro card because it was a North American.
What was it? 1-2 finish?
Yes.
Okay.
So some people thought I should have won the show. Some people.
Who did you go? Is it somebody that we know in the sport?
Yes. His name is Taymodi. Taymodi. He did.
Nope.
He did the New York Pro last year. He did the Arnold.
Okay.
I think he did the Arnold this year with me. And
well, it shows.
Looks like you won the
You basically won the Arnold.
So, yeah, and for the North American, it was a lot of stress, man. I was retaining water, especially Pittsburgh too. Pittsburgh was the show that a lot of people said, oh, you shouldn't have won the show. But some of the judges think that, even though the guy was leaner than I am, in certain, areas, but with my structure, the way I posed compared to the guy was, what they wanted that night. And
you're saying at Pittsburgh, your first pro show?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
and that's the one you won?
Yes.
And that brings up a crazy point, at least for me, because it almost brings directly back to the Arnold, where it's almost like, for a classic physique, are we going for structure? Are we going for a classic look? Or are we going for
height, weight, bodybuilding?
Yeah. I mean, listen, and this is not shitting on anybody. Well, we'll put that out there right now. This is a preface of no shitting on anybody. I think
it's your opinion.
I think that you and George are phenomenal bodybuilders in respective classes of classic or bodybuilding, whatever you guys decide to do.
The sport itself.
I think you guys are just amazing athletes. I think you both have your own phenomenal looks. But I know that for the Arnolds, and you're speaking on Pittsburgh, they chose you over the more lean guy for Pittsburgh.
Right.
So it brings up the question of
what is classic?
What do they want? Because
honestly, it's a division that I love. I don't think I would ever leave classic to go to open. I want to stay that because I love that look.
You did your 212 stint. Never again.
I was going to eliminate that one for this podcast, but you brought it up. So, you know what? Fuck that. We're going to go right to it.
So go ahead. Touch on the 212 thing real quick.
So the 212, basically, I did it because it wasn't for any reasons. I did it because I think that I wanted to compete more. I was lean enough to think that, all right, I don't want to go to an off season right away, since the Pittsburgh Pro was like 4 weeks prior to the New York Pro. I said, why not? I'm already like 212 to 13 to 15 around that weight. So all I have to do is just dry out a little bit. And honestly, he was trying to bring me bigger, and I didn't look good. I know I didn't look good. So I placed like 13th, 16th. And
who'd you go against?
A lot of guys, to be honest. I think I went against Sean Carita. I went against a whole bunch of other 212 guys that actually very dense. Like I was backstage, I said, "What the fuck?" Like,
get me out of here.
From a like a 3D standpoint, bro. I'm talking about like you see shit on these dudes' backs. It's like, what the hell? So I said, I need a lot of fill outs. I said, all right, I have good structure. I've been hearing it, but damn, like I just need to put on a lot more muscle size,
I mean, you're the poster child for classic, man.
Yeah.
You're the poster child for classic, man. I was watching the live stream of you at the Arnold because I got there the next day. So I was sitting in my room watching the live stream. And as you were hitting some of your some of the old school Arnold poses, people were commenting in the live chat, going, "Damn, he looks like he's pasted on the statue in the back."
Wow.
I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah, Arnold came backstage and told me to do a vacuum for him. And he came back again, and then he was like, "You look great. You look great." So I said, "Thank you." And also he put me on his story.
That's awesome. He walked right past me when he saw me. he glanced over at me and he just kept walking. He's like, "Hey, do a vacuum for me, Nick."
So he put me on this story. I think that was, that was, I don't know. I didn't have any response for that one, man. I just think it was a dream because this is a guy that I admire his physique. I admire him as a person. And he's basically the godfather of bodybuilding. We all doing this because, he actually, marked the way for all the bodybuilders that's out right now. And the look that those guys had, to be honest with you, is very hard for a lot of bodybuilders these days to maintain that look. Because you don't know what the judges want. Sometimes I think because on the way you're being judged, you think that you have to do excess amount of thing to look bigger, to ruin your shape. But I still believe that the classic division is going to be a big factor to the IFBB. Big factor.
It really is.
It's just pretty. Yeah. It's pretty new still, but watch in the next 5 years.
It's becoming the more popular division. I mean,
by far.
What put asses in the seats to say for the Olympia and all these shows was to see freaks. Right. And people wanted to see open because they just couldn't believe how large these people were getting. Like a Phil Heath or a Flex Lewis, and they want
Big Romney.
Yeah, a Big Romney. People see this shit in the magazine, and they're like, okay, yeah, he's fucking humongous. But then you go to a show and you see him, and he's just
what the fuck?
Yeah,
is
he's
that?
just trumping over everybody. It's like crazy.
I've seen a lot of bodybuilders in my life, and especially now being a pro, I've met some of the guys that look pretty awesome. They're big dudes, and like Rolly Winkler is a nice guy. I love that guy. So when the New York Pro, I went there with MFit Subs, which is a company that I'm sponsored by. So we were there, and I went actually downstairs because me and Guy were upstairs. Guy Sistanino, we were upstairs, and then me and Coach was upstairs. Guy was waiting for me downstairs, and he ended up going somewhere. So I was looking for them, and when I came downstairs, man, I'm just being honest. I saw Rolly Winkler was sitting next to what's his name again? The guy that won the Arnold this year. That won the Arnold Classic this year. Brendan Curry.
Man.
Right.
Dude.
Yeah.
Did you see the picture of him and Breon next to each other?
No.
No, I didn't.
Dude, he made Breon look like a toy. But continue.
Dude, like I saw him. I saw him. Like he got up. He say hello to me because every time we see each other, we talk and stuff. But dude, how large this dude was. Like I've seen pros every day. He was so big to a point I couldn't even focus on the conversation we were having because I'm just like staring at his look because he was so freakish that I forgot Rolly was next to me because he didn't look real, man. It was just crazy big. And I texted my coach and I said, "Coach, have you take a look at Brendan Curry? Have you take a look at him?" And then my coach was like, "He looked insane, mate. He looked fucking insane."
It's crazy.
I saw him. I couldn't believe my eye.
Incredible build too.
And that never left my mind. I said, this dude was the biggest guy I've ever seen.
That's insane.
I wish I could find, I think it's going to be like way back. It was last year. I showed Arash that shit. Arash was his jaw dropped. That shit was crazy how small he made Breon look. And Breon's not a small dude.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is not a small dude.
Yeah, man. Brendan looked unreal. And he's bigger than the way he was last year.
Jesus.
And he's going to be a very, very big threat this year. And
here it is.
Found it?
Dude.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Dude,
bro,
he looks like a toy.
Listen, man, the photo you show me right now, he's lean. You should see him
when he's off season. Yeah.
Oh my God.
He's lean right here. He's lean. And
bro, cut it out.
It doesn't make sense, bro. Like I'm talking about Rolly I think Rolly Winkler was big, because I love Rolly. You know how big he is. And I saw Brendan sitting next to him. They were having lunch together.
All right, let's put this in perspective for people that are listening, okay? We're basically looking at a picture of Brandon Curry standing next to Breon. I think it's at Oxygen Gym over. Is that in Kuwait?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You ever see like a Ken doll? All right, so Breon's the Ken doll. Okay. And then let's
Laureus
think,
is Brandon Curry.
Yeah, and then let's think of He-Man as Brandon Curry in this picture. So it's a He-Man action figure next to Ken doll. And Ken doll in real life, Mr. Breon, he's not small. So there's your proportions. Did I say on the podcast a couple of episodes ago, did I tell you when I picked up Big Rami at the airport?
Yeah,
did I mention that on the podcast? I don't know if I did.
I know you told me.
I ever tell you that?
No.
Well, this is a good story.
I can't wait to hear it.
Yo, Big Steve Weinberger, he hit me up and he goes, "Hey Nick," he goes, it was like an off day at the time. He's like, "Hey man, I need you to pick up Rami from JFK. Is that cool?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll pick him up." So he's like, "All right, he's gonna be at this terminal this time, blah blah blah." I said, "Okay." So it gives me like an hour and a half. I hang up the phone with him and I just sat there for a second. I went, "Yeah, you know what? I don't think he's gonna fit in my car." Now, for everybody listening, I drive an Audi S5. That's a 2-door with bucket seats. Okay, it's not the smallest car in the world.
It's a nice car though. I love that car.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
It's definitely not the biggest car in the world, either. So, I'm on my way to JFK. And I'm driving there, and I keep having this reoccurring thought. This motherfucker's not gonna fit. I keep saying either
Tie him the hood.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to put him like a Christmas tree on the top. That's what I'm talking about. Just put your arms back and just like you're Superman. So one thing leads to another. I get to the terminal and I'm sitting there waiting, and finally he turns the corner. I'm like, oh shit, he's full off season. This boy thick. So I start screaming like a moron. "Oh, Rami, I'm here for you. Big Steve sent me." And he's like, "Oh, okay, brother, what's up?" I'm like, so good to see you.
Imagine.
I'm like, pleasure to meet you. Wait, what are you saying?
Imagine if somebody else just knew who Romney was. "Romney, I'll pick you up."
Yeah, come on. Okay, sure. I'm like,
where are we going?
I'm like, "Hey, man, can I get you anything? Do you want a water or something?" He's like, "You know what? I'll take a water." I said, "You got it. I got you a water." I run, I grab him a water like a little fanboy, and we start walking to my car. I said, "Hey, man, I'm parked out here." So we're walking, and as we're walking, I keep looking to my right, and I keep like giving him a once over, like looking down, looking up, and he like looks at me, and I'm just like, "Hey, man, I don't think you're gonna fucking fit." So he goes, "Don't worry, we figured it out." I'm like, "All right, I don't know what that means, but maybe he's gonna rip my fucking seat out. He's gonna lay down."
Take the door off.
Oh my god! So then we get to the car, and he was the dopest person. He takes out. He goes, "Hold on 1 second." Opens his suitcase up. A little, I guess he just had a travel suitcase over the head, and he takes out a big Rami hat. And he goes, "In case I don't see you again, brother." I'm like, "Oh man, you're fucking awesome." I'm like, "Oh my god, you really know how to make someone tear up." So we get in the car, and all I remember going is, "Oh my god, please fit, please fit, please fit," as he's backing in like a Mack truck. So he sits, and I'm not joking. I feel the suspension shift, and I'm like, "Wow, this is like having this is like having a water buffalo in my car right now, dude." He fit. He got really cramped midway. So then I started racing back to Bev's. I was like, "Okay, I'll get you there in like 5 seconds." Because he was like this the entire ride. And every time, because I drive stick, every time I had to shift into 6th gear, he had to move his thigh. But yo, man, he was dope. I had him dancing to Busta Rhymes in the car. He was dancing a little bit. I wish I had a GoPro. That would have been the best content ever.
He's a good person, man.
And then he goes, the best line was, he goes, "If you're ever in Kuwait," he goes, "you hit me up. You stay with me." I said, "I don't know when I'm going to be in the neighborhood, but if I am, I'll hit you up." Imagine I just show up. "Hey, Rami, remember at fucking airport? What are you doing here?" But yeah, man, he was a good dude. I like that. But speaking of large men, yeah, that was a difficult one.
Yeah, I've never met him in person.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I never met him in person. But I've met Rolly and Brendan, a whole bunch of other guys, because we have the real powerhouse gym, in New York. Everyone trains there, so I've seen. It's not new to me seeing big guys like Juan Morel, Max Charles, some big dudes, man.
He name drops John Panetti. Did you go out to Venice? Did you go out to Gold's out there?
No.
That place is a fucking shit show. It is a sty in the world. I do not know why everybody hypes that gym up so much.
Really?
I was out there in January for the LA Fit Expo. And
but I heard LA right now is where it's at for fitness.
Yeah.
You know, I heard everybody moved down to LA. It's a big thing now, and especially here in this country, it's LA's it's the turf.
Just wait for another earthquake, so all the people that are there now can just fall in, and then we can move over there. Because right now I don't like. You know what? I've always wanted to go to. I always said to myself, I want to live in LA. I want to go out there. That's the place I should be. With my first girlfriend, I used to tell her all the time. I'd be like, yo, once you graduate college, once I graduate college, we're moving out there, this and that. I just thought it was the place to be. And then when I never got an opportunity to go out there and check it out, actually, until I got hired by Titan Grips to go out and shoot at the LA Fit Expo. So they flew me out there. I shot at CT Fletcher's gym, which was dope. So sick. And that's a great gym. And then I went to Gold's in Venice with Sergio Oliva Jr. and Shanique Grant. So that was fucking sick to just walk in there and just like, hey, I'm with them. But you know, it wasn't everything that it was cracked up to be. I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I was going to. I thought it was going to be this like paradise, and I went out there and there was tons of homeless, and I'm not joking, we stayed downtown LA. Okay? First rule, don't stay downtown LA, okay? Second thing ever, like the first night we were there, it sounded like Grand Theft Auto outside. I swear to God, I am not elaborating. All you heard all night were ambulances, cop cars, and homeless people fighting over drugs. The entire night.
That's insane.
Yeah,
that's
crazy.
Yeah, it really makes you want to move out there. I looked at this. I looked at here. Then I went to Beverly Hills, and I'm like, okay, you know, it's Beverly Hills. It's fucking nice. It's
How much
beautiful.
is the house? Oh, all right, never mind.
Yeah, you know what? It's like living in the Hamptons or living in Manhasset.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's like living in the rich area, Roslyn. It's, you know, I didn't think it was that drastically different. Yeah, the weather is better over there, and yeah, it's a little nicer because you get palm trees on every block, but. Dude, the majority of the areas that you go into over there, I just was not a fan of. And it was actually shocking to me. You'll see. You'll get out there. You'll get out there. You'll get out there. And Gold's is not impressive. Go to Gold's in West Islip or Smithtown. Same fucking gym.
Really?
Same gym. They just have an outdoor area.
It's just the name. It's just the name.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And you know I think they wanted something like almost $100 if I decided to film there.
Wow.
Yeah. Ballsy for a gym that's so regular and commercial. CT's gym was fucking sick.
I heard.
That was a dope gym, man. I was setting up my camera, and all of a sudden he walked in, and you hear it from the back, motherfucker, and I went, oh my God, he's here.
I'm inspired.
He's just like the videos. But
CT is really dope, man. He's a great guy.
You followed him for a while?
Yeah.
Very motivational.
Oh,
see, we're at the same brainwave.
Mike Rashid too is another guy that's very, very hardcore, you know, with training and a lot of things.
Who is that? Because you're the second person to tell me about him. And I got to be honest with you, I don't know who he is. You don't either?
No idea.
Mike Rashid did a lot of videos with CT. So he's the guy that actually was promoting more of there's no such thing as overtraining, you know?
Yeah. Ask 3 weeks ago Nick, who was in bed for a week from a virus and definitely from overtraining.
My dad doesn't believe in overtraining either.
Do you?
I don't believe in it either. I don't believe there's such thing as overtraining.
And why?
Because I feel like, there's a lot of things that we do. I think I told you this before. We make the rules. We regulate ourselves. We regulate our limits because us men, we make these rules. Time, we create time. We did everything. So there's a technique, it's called the Bulgarian technique. You know, I forgot exactly how the whole system, I think you do front squats every day or whatever. It's for strength and stuff like that. And my father, back then, I would say my dad stopped training 10 years ago. My father used to do arms every morning. Arms, and he benches every morning. And the only thing that was happening to my father was his arms was getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And he would only train, like sometimes he would take 6 months off, you know, because of life and shit. But when he gets back in the gym for 6 months, gigantic. Because of it's the training system. And he always tell me there's no such thing as overtraining. And I said, no, Dad, that's not true, blah, blah, blah. I fight with him all the time. And then he was like, let me tell you something. He was like, bring a friend. I'll train your friend. I'll make him do arms every morning. You do your arms once or twice a week. In 6 months, you would see the difference. And I never believed it, but I used to train with my friend Vlad when I first started working out in the garage. Dude, we were training arms mostly 3-4 times a week. A significant amount of difference it made in my arm was crazy.
Now, were you taking rest days?
I would say that, yes, probably like 2 days a week and stuff like that. But I believe the person that overtrain a body part, like when they say overtraining, if you squat a lot, every day you squat, you do a lot of different things for legs, that body part will be the biggest and the leanest body part you have, period. Especially if you diet it down, you're on a calorie deficit. That would be the driest body part you have, because where there's more muscle, there's less fat. So you're building a lot more muscle by doing that. So it's scientific studies say that, all right, you're not supposed to train a body part no more than twice a week. You know, I don't believe that, to be honest with you. You know, professional athletes fucking train every single day, and football players, and every day they have practice. You know, the performance these guys do out there, I can't do it.
What are you going to say? I know you've been waiting.
You've been waiting to say something.
I'm pretty against. I'm pretty strong believer in overtraining. Like, I feel like the arms are the one thing you really can't overtrain, because if you do it 3 or 4 times a week, they heal up so fast that you can kind of get away with it. Like, if you look at the guys in the 70s, 80s, every single one of them had big arms. You know what I mean? Every single one, because they trained arms so frequently.
Right.
But besides that, if you look at like the old footage of like a bench press or a bent over row, the form was terrible back then.
Right.
So the bent over rows were full of bicep curls, and the flat benches or the inclines were really just tricep presses. That's why back then they didn't really have the thick density the bodybuilders do now. You know what I mean? Not even as dense as the classic guys now.
It's everything overall. It's just the diet. Some of these guys back then were just eating, you know, tuna fish and water just to dry out.
Right.
But the concepts that we follow now, the protocols that we follow now, are much more beneficial, and it's more effective as well.
Right, but that's my point, is they barely knew anything back then, so they were constantly in an overtrained state. But the only body part on every single one of them that was drastically better was their arms. Because your arms heal up so quick that even if they're a little overtrained, they're back to normal. I take everything back to an evolutionary standpoint, where, evolutionary speaking, we needed our arms to survive. You know what I mean? To pick things up, to fight off predators, whatever happened, to build shelter, or to simply carry a baby away from danger.
Right.
So that was a body part that had to adapt to the situations. Where if somebody's arms, say, genetically healed up as quick as, say, their legs did, they just got tossed out of the gene pool. They didn't survive. You know what I mean? So those positive traits of not being able to overtrain the arms got passed down the gene pool. The family tree to, well, everybody in the world now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, you look back then too, nobody was training their chest. Back when I'm talking evolutionary, when you were, you know, living in the woods trying to survive, you weren't doing push-ups. The chest was just made to move your arm from one point of the body to the other. But we took it to hypertrophy to try to get bigger and bigger and thicker. Yeah. That's why it's so hard to build a thick chest, because it's not made to do that.
I have a cousin that went to prison for 18 months.
You about to say he got that jail body?
Crazy big. He benches every morning. And he used to go to the gym before he actually served time. And the amount of differences, but I know it's different. You're in a different environment. You're, you know, resting a lot. You know, there's nothing to do basically in jail, but, you know. But
the meals aren't there, and obviously you're not eating as much as you would be outside.
Dude came out 35 pounds heavier, and cut big, you know, and he was always a skinny kid, And it's the same, I think it's the same concept system. My dad always tell me there's no such thing as overtraining. And Gene came out big, really, really big. So he had a routine every morning. He would bench, he would do 10 sets of bench and do tricep extensions and do other things and stuff like that. That was his routine for 18 months.
But it's just, you know what? He was working out before, but then he really took it to the next level when he, was incarcerated. And you know as well as I do, once you step up the game a little bit and really put your balls to the walls, you grow. When somebody first starts working out from nothing to suddenly starts to train, they grow, they lose fat because the body, it's a new stimulus that they've never felt before. So your cousin had a new stimulus where his body went, holy shit. We're not dying. We can keep doing this. We can keep pushing, but we have to get bigger, better, and stronger. And especially in that type of stressful, pressured situation, living in jail, your hormones going through the roof. It's as if your adrenaline's always popping.
It's a killer. It's a killer. It's a kill or be killed instinct.
Exactly. Where your body is saying, you know what, we barely have the nutrients, but whatever we have, we're going to put it toward muscle growth because we got to survive. It thinks it's constantly being chased by a lion or something, where your adrenaline is so fucking pumped. Right. And then you're asleep, and then you're totally rested. So it's kind of the perfect situation if there was food involved too.
Yeah, believe in it, or don't believe in it. But all I know is my fucking dick got kicked in 2 weeks ago when I was training. I was training for 2.5 weeks, man. Training 2.5 weeks with no rest day, and I was doing weights, John Meadows programming. And I'm not saying that it was John Meadows' fault, because it absolutely was not. It was my fault for not taking the allotted rest days that he had in his program. But I was also doing HIIT cardio after every session. So that plus a new calorically restricted diet that I was doing with Arash, I think that all those factors plus me getting some type of virus just shut me down for a week. I could not get out of bed. I was talking to him.
Yeah, it was bad.
He's like, "Yo, do you want to reschedule for Thursday?"
That's the time that you messaged me and told me that you were feeling
dude. I wanted to. I'm not joking, man. I wanted to kill myself. I was miserable. The pulsating headache that I had, it was for 5 days straight in the middle of my head. Pulse. I'm like, I gotta have a tumor. This is crazy. I'm
Insane.
Like, this is nuts, because my head was just killing me. And then I went to the doctor, because I hate doctors. And I went to the doctor, and they said, it's a virus. There's nothing to do but take Advil and rest. So of course I took echinacea and vitamin C, and I boosted more my shit. But long story short, I think that it was a combination of a virus and just not giving my body ample time to recover in the gym. Always thinking that I had to push harder and that'll give me the results. But actually, I wound up being leaner after resting. And I wasn't eating, but it's like weird how that works.
I always bring everything down to basic science, even with my clients. And the first rule of thermodynamics: energy cannot be created or destroyed. So if you're building mass on you, if you want to get bigger, you need to feed your body, or else where is that protein coming from? Your body can't magically spawn it.
It's true. That's where a lot of people make a lot of mistakes. They make a lot of mistakes because they think that the excess amount of training and everything else you do is what's going to make you bigger. But I think Ronnie Coleman said it too. A lot of guys said it. They said, I never really understand until I was really on that competitive, people chasing me for my title, for my Mr. Olympia. He's like, the more you eat, the bigger you get, period. He was like, that's the secret of putting on size. You have to eat a lot.
Yeah, I agree. So you know what? In a way, what I always believed is overtraining isn't true as long as you're eating enough food and taking your rest. Because then you can train balls out 5 days a week, but give your body the ample time to repair. Because if you can go balls out 7 days a week, probably didn't go balls out.
I wasn't doing either of those.
Yeah.
I was fucking myself over. It was crazy.
I know. I need my rest days now. I'm fried. After a leg day, I'm fried.
My shoulders were the weakest body part I had. Weakest. Last year, the best results I've gotten from putting some serious size on my shoulders, doing them 3 times a week. I was killing them 3 times a week. Literally, I would go to the gym and do 15 sets of lateral raises. That would just be one day. I'd just do lateral raises to bring that extra cap. So it and I would skip 2-3 days, and I would go back and do it again.
Do you like heavy lateral raises?
Heavy lateral raises. You know,
You doing a single? Or you doing doubles?
Doubles, as heavy as possible, as much reps as possible, and it's the only thing that break through the lack of density that I had on my shoulder.
Was that was that always your weakest point, or is it? Okay.
It was. My arms always looked twice the size of my shoulder.
So you just really had good arms right out the gate.
Yeah, and I've been training shoulders for years. But I said last year, you know what? Fuck that. I'm gonna experiment and see. You know, I'm gonna have my biggest carb meal after training shoulders. I'm gonna do what I gotta do to really put on that size. And I was going into the gym and just balls out 3 times a week. It's the best results I've got.
Now, is that kind of your own theory on it, and
yeah.
I guess chemistry on doing it like that, or is it because I know you were doing a little bit of Neil's training, but you're also working with Doc Camp.
I just started working with Doc Camp.
Yeah, so
like a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
I like the whole thing you said about the overtraining. I believe that a lot of things that's out there right now, you have to understand your body. You have to be your own scientist. You have to see what works for you, what doesn't work for you. I believe if you don't experiment, if you're only listening to books and science all the time, you know, there's a lot of things that I think that's in the books. People follow them, and you take 3 months off the gym and you go back, everybody looks the same. The majority of people that improve in the gym, I would say about 1 to 2%. So why? It's not because, you know, they're not doing the right thing. Is some people actually say, all right, yeah, I've been following this person's diet. I've been following this. How about you do your own shit? How about you understand your body? How about you see what is going to work for you? So I'm a very, very hard guy to convince. You know, I don't really believe a lot of things people tell me because I like to see it myself. I like to see the truth. I have to experiment things. Yes, if I fail, I may try again. But if it doesn't work, I'm like, all right, this is not going to work for me. You know, so as far as legs, I know when I train legs, and I was training legs twice a week, and is my best body part, to be honest. I think it's the best body part I have. I still have to improve in hamstrings, but I started, I stopped doing treadmill. No, not treadmill, sorry.
Stairmaster.
Stairmaster? Yeah. I stopped doing Stairmaster, and Neil didn't want me to do Stairmaster because everything I do for my quads, even if I'm in a complete, you know, caloric deficit, it grows. It still grows. Some people say, yeah, it's because you're like genetic. I just feel like doing the Stairmaster and eating that amount of food, it's... I don't know what the word I'm looking for here, but
give me the French word. Give me the French or Creole word.
Listen, it still grows. For some reason, it was just growing. I had to walk. Like I always walk for cardio to get leaner. You know, sometimes I would do a HIIT training type of thing, you know, to get leaner. But this year for the Arnold, it was the least amount of cardio I've done.
Really?
And he took me off. He stopped my cardio 8 days out.
That's awesome.
You know,
must be a good feeling.
8 days out, it was no cardio. Yeah. He was feeding me a lot more. And you know what's crazy? I had 2 days. I was eating 8-9 meals in his apartment, Neil's apartment. And we were trying to put more size on, right? And the second night, it was like my very last meal. When I stepped on the scale, I was 219.
What's the cutoff for you guys? 215?
215. I was 219. I was like, I looked phenomenal. And guess what? I went to sleep. I slept for like 9 hours. I got up the next day. Guess how much I weighed? You would never believe it. We didn't know what the hell happened. Some people say, oh, it's because...
210.
No. I was 202.
Damn.
202. Like, we still, like, talk about this and laugh. It's like, no, it's not the scale. It's definitely not. The scale is accurate.
Would you crap in the middle of the night? Didn't even realize it? Oh my God.
I think my body just burned through because
that's what I was going to
say.
You know,
it was just so much food that I ate those 2 days, and you know, because I was such in low carb, you know, for a while.
Yo, let me get those genetics. I wish I had that problem.
My body breezed through it. Just. Dude, I couldn't believe it. I was 202 the next, and he was like, "No fucking way! What did you do? What did you do?" I'm like, "No, coach, I did nothing." Like he's like, "No, what did you do?" I was like,
"Your
nothing."
guest bedroom is the secret.
You know? So, So we still couldn't believe it. Like we were like driving, talking about it. We're like, no way. Was it the scale? Like we just couldn't understand what happened, man. It was like,
I'll tell you what it was. It was that goddamn Florida heat, man. Bro, I trained down there when I was filming Flex. Oh my God. I thought I was having a stroke 2 sets in.
Insane.
It was 10 o'clock at night and it was the muggiest, grossest. I said, how does anybody breathe down here?
Yeah, I don't like the heat, man. I don't like the heat. I don't like when it's too hot.
I like cool.
You know? I
like
when
both.
Yeah.
Dude.
But you know what? Sometimes you have something you work hard for. You want to show it in the summertime.
It's easy. It's easy to lose weight down there, man.
Yeah.
It's very easy to lose weight.
Maybe that's what got me so dry. No, I'm just kidding.
Now, what were you when you weighed in for the Arnold?
When I weighed in for the Arnold, I was 204, 205 on stage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
205, by the way, 205. Because I'm actually 10 pounds into the weight limit. So we're trying to bring 8 additional pounds like on stage next year.
Okay.
So that's.
And where are you trying to pack it? You trying to get more shoulders again, or just all over? You want to make improvements everywhere.
All over.
Nice.
I don't think some people say, "Oh yeah, he's going to ruin his physique. He's going to do this. He's going to do that." Like I've been hearing it all over again, man. Like people just talk shit. They just tell you, "Oh, you're not gonna." Same thing. No one expected me to look that way for the Arnold because they say, "Oh, he can't get lean."
Well, they were giving points to everybody else. They were saying that you weren't even going to be in the top running.
Yeah, they, I wasn't even mentioned by some of the guys, and but I like that. I like to be the underdog. I don't want, people to always say, oh, Steve is going to win something. Doubt me, of course. It motivates me even better. That's a pure motivation for me. When I get doubts, I read those things. I don't go online and fight with anybody. So I read, I laugh, I smile at them. I'm like, all right. Sometimes I even like the comments. I'm like, cool. That's what you say. Okay, fine.
Send them a heart.
You're making me better. Thank you.
Send him an eggplant. Yeah. There you go, motherfucker.
That's a pointer because I believe what makes Phil Heath great as he is right now is because I remember when Phil was first coming into the league. Actually, he sparked right with Dennis Wolf. So Dennis Wolf and Phil came exactly around the same time. So they were saying Phil was too narrow. People didn't like his look. Some people said, oh, his chest is too small. There's always something. And guess what? He gets better and better and better because the guy has genetics. You're going to talk shit about him. Of course, you're going to make him improve. So classic division, I don't give a shit if someone doesn't mention me and say anything. I see what's out there. I see other people's physique. Unless you don't know anatomy at all. So the attachments of my physique and someone's physique, I'm going to compare it. You get what I'm saying? So I just believe that I have to deliver 100% to my coach and honesty and everything I have to do. And it's going to come out. It's going to look phenomenal when I really, really nail it,
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah,
I mean, I was excited for the Arnold. I was screaming in my room when you went out there. I sound like an asshole. My neighbors must hate me. I was like, let's fucking go because that was the best you I've seen so far. And I know that that's not the ceiling for you, which that's what excites me.
Yeah.
The exciting part is not that I saw a great Steve Laureus on stage. The exciting part is, damn, that's after 2 shows together, and they're going to keep getting better and better. Now,
plus an off season.
Yeah, plus a real off season.
That's the goal, man. Neil is the man. We talk a lot every day. He would message me. We'll just get on WhatsApp. Like yesterday, we video chatted for almost an hour. So we just talk about everything. And after that I did the Arnold, he wanted my body to be in the right state again. He wanted me to go back and get my blood work done, make sure everything is okay.
Detox. I remember you telling me you were detoxing.
So he gave me a lot of time to live life, to relax, eat certain things that I want to eat. He's not over pushing it. He said it's normal. This is that's something that is normal, that everybody should do that, because your body sometimes will reject the same shit. All right, dude, what are you doing? You're giving me this. You're gonna give me the same food again. You're gonna do the same workout again. It just needs something different to at certain times. It just needs to change to a certain different. So that much time off not doing certain things, when I go back on being 100% on what I need to do, the changes is going to come a lot quicker because it's not bored for the same old shit you were doing.
I did research on something. I don't remember where I saw it, but if you eat the same food over and over and over again, your body actually develops like an allergy to it, where your body's going to start craving this food, thinking I need to have it. When it's actually hurting you, it's actually poisoning you in a way because it'll release bad toxins, bad hormones in your body.
Yeah.
Even though you're thinking, like if you eat plain turkey breast every single day, all day, that's all you eat. Or even say if you're in prep, right? Pure white fish, but you decide to do that all year round.
Mm-hmm.
Eating 8 ounces of cod 6 times a day, 365 days a year. Eventually it's going to start poisoning your body. You're going to think you need it, but your body's saying, you're giving this to me again. Thanks, cool, because it thinks you want it.
That's what I was trying to tell you.
Yeah, and you develop literally, like in blood work, you can see an allergy to that food.
If I ever get an allergy for sushi, I need some of you guys, I need both of you, just drag me out back and shoot me. Because I do not want to live in a world where I can't get my sushi on at least 2 times a week. Arash, don't listen.
He doesn't like sushi?
No, well, he was doing my diet and before I got sick. And, you know, we were very strict and I stayed on point the entire time. But since then, it's been hard for me to kind of jump back to eating and all that. Just
my diet with Neil is always different. You know, sometimes I just don't know what to expect. Sometimes he would change up like the whole thing, or I think that's the reason why my body responded so well. You know, with the changes that he was making. Sometimes I would have turkey, I would have chicken, I would have cod. Cod is my favorite protein, to be honest.
Oh, really?
I love cod, yeah. So I can eat cod all day. And also my body likes it. My body loves cod because I feel like, I'm not saying that's what gets me very, very lean, but I just believe that it's the only protein that I know that my body just adapt to it. It just works for me.
It sucks it up.
Big different, yeah. So chicken and salmon or whatever, I still have those in my diet as well. But when I'm getting leaning, like for the Arnold, like weeks out, it was just a lot more cods than anything else.
Turkey does it for me. I like turkey. I'm not a big chicken guy.
Me neither.
I can't do chicken often.
Yeah.
I bought some chicken today actually, which is so random. I just said, you know, let me switch it up. I got thin chicken breasts, but otherwise I like turkey burgers and I like to chop them up. And
there you go.
Yeah, almost make like chunks of turkey and just 6 ounces, 7, you know, whatever I need.
Yeah, very healthy too, man. And a lot healthier than chicken. You know?
Oh yeah. Especially with everything they put in the chicken nowadays, just try to mass produce it. Unless you're buying organic, fuck that.
Well, I'm going to give you guys the plug real quick, and I'm going to regret saying this because I don't want a lot of people knowing about this.
Sorry, nobody listens to the podcast anyway.
Yeah, nobody listens to it anyway.
Nobody cares.
Well, you have a whole bunch of questions from the fans as well, right?
Yeah. He's got some. I got some. Well, ready?
Let me you have some.
I'm going to teach you real quick. What you do is you get your produce, and you get everything from the grocery store, okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to visit Farmingdale Meat Market for all your meats. The pricing is insane because it's a butcher and you're basically cutting the middleman out from like a Whole Foods or a Stop and Shop.
Right.
And their quality of meat is so good. It's ridiculous.
That's where my sponsors get their stuff from.
Really?
It's one of the best. Yeah, hummus. That's where he gets all the, you know,
he gets it from Farmingdale Meat Market?
Yeah.
So good. I mean, I bought a Hawaiian, they call it a Hawaiian steak. I just think this is a couple weeks ago. I think it was just marinated a certain way. I bought a Hawaiian steak. I bought a ribeye. I bought 5 ounces of ground beef, 5 ounces of ground turkey, and I bought 8-ounce steak burgers. It was like $70.
Wow.
I said,
awesome.
I walked in there. I said, I could smell the savings. This is too good to be true.
Send the check.
Send the check, Farmingdale Meat Market. Send the check. But before we get to the questions, I had 2 more things that I kind of wanted to touch on with you. I wanted to touch on the feeling at the Arnold for your 3rd show in the NPC IFBB, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like in the league.
That's crazy. For that to be the Arnold.
Right? It was
3rd pro show.
3rd pro show. Oh, wait. So you did...
So 5th show.
5th total show.
Yeah.
And it's the Arnold.
That's still insane.
That's still insane. So you went from 1 amateur to...
Pro card.
So amateur, national, and then 3 pro shows.
Yeah.
So 5 shows total, and the 5th show you're at the Arnold.
Actually, New York. No, I did Pittsburgh, New York Pro.
New York Pro, we don't count. We don't count the New York Pro. It's like the redheaded stepchild. We don't count.
That did happen.
Yeah. That fucking what?
Your fifth classic show.
That's what we'll say. Fifth classic show.
There you go.
What a feeling that must have been, not only to be top 2, but to be on that stage competing with the best in the world at probably, I mean, besides the Olympia, the biggest stage.
Right, right.
I mean, the Ohio Arnold is the Arnold. I mean, they have the other ones, and obviously those are just as legit, but that is the one. So that must have, I just want to gather and just, what were you feeling going into it? Was there nerves? What was it like?
I was never nervous. It was the only show I did. Honestly, I was nervous 1 week. That was that week I spoke to you. You're telling me, he's like, dude, come on, set back up, do your training, you know, like trust your coach.
Hammer through, baby.
Hammer through it. Like it was that week. But the entire 16 weeks of prep for the Arnold, I was never nervous. I know it was going to be between me and George. And I always put in my head, I said, I'm going to go out there. This guy is not going to beat me. I said, I'm sorry. I don't care if he's top 3 on the Olympia. He's not going to beat me. I said, even if I know I win this show, they don't give it to me, the fans in the crowd has my back. I said, that's the look I'm going to bring. So it could go either way. But I said, I'm going out there. I said, I may not be the biggest guy on the stage, but I'm going to make some guys look really ugly next to me. So that was the mindset that Neil always says, make them look ugly. So that's our line right there. You know?
I love
that.
So
make them look ugly. So he has the same thing for Flex Lewis. You know, there's some 212 guys. They're very thick and dense and shredded. He said, just bring the beauty out. That's it, you know? So I know it was going to be between him and I was never nervous. I was actually more excited because I couldn't wait. I just couldn't fucking wait to go out there and just prove a lot of people that, come on, you know, like if everyone gets lean, everyone is doing what they're supposed to do. I'm a professional now. I have to come in lean. I have to improve in posing. I have to show charisma, which I'm still working on getting on stage to get more comfortable. So to me, I actually can't wait for next year. I'm already like set in. I can't wait. My mind is 100% set in.
Me too. I'm so excited. Me too.
So I believe with the improvements that we're going to make, you know, on my frame, you know, we're going to come in leaner. We're going to come in bigger, you know, not to ruin my look, but 10 pounds into the weight limit. I think 210 on stage is a great look for me.
Yeah.
You know.
And I was there, and I don't want to cut off John if he had a question for you, but I wanted to ask, is there anything that you guys did between shows? Was there a food that he made you eat or something like that? Because you definitely came sharper at night.
Yes. At night, I came in sharper. And you know what? I feel like the final was not even close. Not being cocky, but he lost a lot of dryness on his hamstrings and glutes. You know, when we came to the night show, I think Justin was trying to bring him bigger or whatever, but we were prepared for the final. So I came in a lot drier. So the secret was, for me, it was a nap. So,
really? Just that's all it did for you? Almost like when he was down in Florida, just burn through whatever you had and just get tighter.
Just a nap.
Just rest your body.
I shut all the blinds, and my coach came and looked at me and told me exactly what it is. He was like, 6 of the judges has you winning first place. I said, so if 6 judges has me winning first place, I'm going to win. So, and that's not what happened. And I said, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to have a meal, relaxed, go over my routine a little bit, and then just, you know, like
rest up.
Yeah.
So I got 5 hours of sleep. You know, I was completely knocked out. I didn't even think. I didn't go to social media. I didn't go on. I just shut my phone off and I just lay down. So when I got up, and Neil actually came back, and he had me pose to look to be a little harder and to have that harder look. And he says, "You look phenomenal, mate." He was like, "Let's bring it." And that was it, you know. So it was nothing in the food. It was just rice and cod, basically.
And resting.
And resting.
Yeah. That's
people underestimate rest.
Yeah, it's a big one.
It's crazy. But you know what you said? Everybody's saying add another 10 pounds. It's not going to look good. You're going to ruin your frame. But that's kind of the beauty of the fans. You know what I mean? Because the way I see it is your fans see you as perfect, the best thing you are right now, and you deserve to win everything 100%. Hands down, you don't have to step on stage. Like that already happened to you. But you know what? You're going to come in next year even bigger, better, and they're going to say the exact same thing they are right now. Shit, you look perfect. You look great. I can't believe you made these improvements. You're awesome. Then you're going to say, I think I might put another pound and a half on. No, don't do that. It's going to ruin your frame. You know, so it's the beauty of the fans because they care about you so much. They don't want you to mess up, which is great. But because you know your body, you're like, that's not how it works. You know, it reminds me of any female client I pick up that wants to get a little toned. They go, well, I don't want to put on too much muscle. I'm like, ma'am, hold on. I can guarantee you're not going to look like me in the morning. You're not going to wake up like, oh, fuck, what happened? I'm 200 pounds and
I'm She-Hulk.
They always.
I'm shredded.
Yeah, you know, your clients probably say the same shit.
It's just, I can guarantee you this isn't going to happen on accident.
I've had people tell me that. My mom told me that. I said, Mom, quit clowning. Stop it.
If that happens on accident, I'm going to pay you. You train me now. Because you figured out something that I didn't.
Now, a little bit of controversy. Not for the finish, but for you skipping the Olympia this year. I know many people.
I know that one was coming.
Yeah, you know, come on, man. Come on. Who am I?
I know that was coming.
Who am I? It's Nicky Rizzles extraordinaire.
I actually had Generation Iron to announce it today that we're going to skip the Olympia this year. It's for the best. It's for the good reasons. There's nothing.
I agree.
Some fans think that I got injured. I was getting some of the comments and they were like, you know, what is it, a bicep injury? Is it an injury? I was like, no, guys, I'm 100% healthy right now. I'm just pumped up for next year. So I actually take off the Olympia this year for a purpose, for a reason. You know, I'm going to use every single second that I can use, you know, towards, you know, next year to come in better. I'm not going to go behind on time and lacking on anything. Training, eating, resting, and use all those times.
I love it.
Yeah. You know, it's the importance of an off season.
Yes.
Like I said before, everybody underestimates it. But that's when you make improvements. That's when you become something that nobody's seen before.
Yeah.
Well, what does Phil Heath do? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, he's been obviously winning every single year. He was able to be requalified, and he's qualified for life anyway.
Yeah.
But what does he do? He does that one show. He doesn't have anything else to prove, and he shuts it down.
That's it.
He heals up from all the abuse that his body took, from the preps and from all the food you have to eat. Yeah. Probably does a detox just like you.
Gets his blood work, does everything healthy,
and relaxes. And then he goes into demon mode, and he's back in the gym, hammering away, bringing up all the potty parts that he saw or that he thought weren't good enough at the last show. You know, I look at a lot of these guys, and I think we mentioned it in one of the podcasts. I look at a lot of these guys that bounce show to show to show to show. Like, you just won this show, but now you're qualified for the Olympia, and now you're going to do this show because it's a dick swinging contest, and you want to prove that you can win that show. When realistically, is that really the best move for your body?
It's not. A lot of people don't understand. I think a competitive bodybuilder, it just doesn't have to be bodybuilding in general. I think 2 shows a year is maxed. I think that's something that everybody should consider. You know, instead of jumping on stage doing 3-4 shows a year, take the time to make the improvements. Some people say, no, I make improvements because, you know, shows after shows, my body gets better. You know, well, yeah, it may look good for some people, you know, because you're still in a lower caloric deficit, so you're still burning more fat. But you know what? What happens is your body looks fucking tired, man. You're going to go out there, you look like you're burned out, you're tired. So you could easily take the time to refine those fibers, refine the muscle bellies, you know, just to come back better.
Be a better you.
That's
it. You know, even just one show a year. Unless you qualify at that show and the next one's either going to be an Olympia qualification or doing the Olympia or even, you know, at the national level. You qualify for nationals and, you know, not by the skin of your dick, but you fucking owned it. You went in there, won an overall. Fuck it, go for nationals. Try. You know, if you took second place at a show where there were 2 people, maybe shut down, try to be a better you. Don't try to do nationals yet. But if that second show is going to bring you to a new playing field where you can then shut down and try to be, you know, a legit competitor, then yeah, do it. But otherwise, one show. Do a show, see where you stand, put everything into it, and then shut down.
I told this kid the other night, I was training, and he came up to me because he was like, oh, man, you know, I'm such a big fan, and I want to ask you some questions. And I'm like, yeah, sure, dude, you know, whatever. Mm-hmm. Then the kid was 18 years old, and he was like, what do you think? You think I should do a show next year? You think I should just compete or whatever? I said, to be honest with you, is what you want to do, but I think that the way you look right now, I'm just going to be quite honest with you. I said, you know, have you seen what some of those guys look like out there? And he was like, yeah. I said, but do you think you're on that level yet? And he was like, no, but everybody has to get somewhere. I said, take your time, man. Take the best time to really improve. Take shots of yourself and compare them. Always compare them and see the improvements that you're making. I said, you're going to go out there, you know, for what if you're not ready? If it's not in your heart, don't do it. Take the time. It's always going to be there. It's not going anywhere. You don't have to do that show because you want to do that show. You do that show because you want to make an example out of, you know, yourself, or you want to feel good about yourself. You want to be in the top 3, top 2, or winning a whole show. That's the whole point of going into a diet and training so hard. You don't go out there to lose, man. You go out there to really make an example, make people admire that what you're bringing on stage. If you're not ready, don't do it.
Yeah.
100%. But you know what? If you start it, commit to it.
That's it.
You know, don't fuck up your prep halfway through and say, oh, I'm not going to do it. I just don't feel like it. No, you fucked up. You're jerking around. Maybe this isn't for you. Or get your head on straight and try again next year. But
I always... Oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, just repeat myself. Just take the time and fucking, when you're ready, go for it.
What was that?
You know what? I think not just being on a professional level, like when you actually still an amateur, you're going out there with someone that bench like you, that does legs like you, he does everything that you do, he eats 6-7 meals a day, and this guy's gonna dry out, you're gonna dry out, he's gonna show up, he's gonna have abs, he's gonna have legs, he's gonna have back. So with the difference between you standing in a lineup with 50 guys that has abs, that has legs, that has everything, calves, or whatever you want to call it, is knowing that I got to come out there and look better. Knowing in your mind that I don't want to be in this lineup because I want to win the show. I want to be the best guy that's standing in that lineup. If my time is not ready, like the Olympia this year, it's the same thing. I don't want to be scrambled and say, oh, well, should we give him 5th? Should we give him 4th? It's not cocky or overconfident, guys. It's I want to fucking win. You know, if my sponsors are going to spend money on me, invested in me, my coach is putting all the effort in me, and I'm making sacrifices with my health, I want to go out there and get something out of it. I don't want to go out there and make a fool out of myself, not just because I'm not in the top 5, but, you know, it's a big risk, you know, doing the sport, especially on your health.
You're not just going there for the Olympia jacket.
Right, exactly.
So
some people fucking do.
It's a hell of a nice jacket, though. I'm not gonna lie.
It's phenomenal.
But if you do an extra show and you happen to grab one you don't want,
just throw it my way.
Yeah.
Send the jacket.
So if you think you got it in you, man, you think you're ready, you think you take the time to really. Some people never competed because they say, "Oh, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm not ready." You know, it could go either way. But like I said, you're gonna be on a lineup with 15 dudes that has good abs, you know, good legs. What is the thing that's going to differentiate, that's going to separate you from that guy? You know, it's the time and the effort you put in. So if you're not 100% ready, you'll say, oh, I'm going to go and see if I could be on the top 5. If I make top 3, you're losing because you already put that in your mind. You're feeding your subconscious mind with that thought. What creates a great athlete is always feel like you're going to win. It's not that you're the shit, like someone is like you're better than everyone else. It's because if you believe you're going to lose a show, you believe you're not going to do great, they say, yeah, I'm going to do the Olympia. I hope I make the top 5. How about you say you're going to win? You know, I know it sounds a little too much for someone to say. Some people...
Thoughts become things.
Exactly. So you got to create that with your mind, man. If you have to repeat that every single day.
Manifesting.
Yeah.
Exactly. Dream. You have to dream it. You know, I dream of myself coming into the Arnold And everybody sit in the crowd, jaw dropping, or what I'm gonna bring because I'm lean enough. I repeat it every time I was doing cardio. I said everybody could do it. You could do it too. Mm-hmm. That body that I'm looking for, it's there. I got to bring it out. You know, I just got to create it, man. You just got to create it with your mind. That's it.
It's the head in first place of somebody.
Yep.
Why not you? And I think something that scares a lot of amateurs too is they're going to show up thinking, well, there's going to be some genetic freak there. There's going to be just some crazy.
Man, compete against fucking Steve Laureus, and they're gonna send him off stage, and I'm gonna be the asshole standing out there like, well, shit.
Well, fuck me, all right.
Well, I guess I'm battling for second.
I went to Powerhouse. I was training. I was this kid. He came in, and then he was just putting himself down. I don't want to name no name, but you know, he was like, I was doing shrugs. I was 6 weeks out for the Arnold. I was doing shrugs. And he was like, oh, you know, I don't think I could ever look like you. He's like, oh, dude, you know, like, he kept talking and talking. And I like the kid, you know. Mm-hmm. And I put my weight down. I went up to him. Honestly, I think I overreacted because he got me so mad because he was saying these things, putting himself down. I'm like, dude, what the fuck is the matter with you, bro? Like, putting yourself down like this. I said, I'm no different. I have two legs, 2 arms like you do. I said, everybody has a different insertion point, you know, on your muscle. Like, your muscle look different. But, you know, some guys doesn't have the structure. They have the size. They have the grainy type of thing. They have the posing. Everybody's special. On that stage, everyone is special. But you putting yourself down in front of another man, you know, I know it was just a compliment, but I always believe if you're going to keep doing that for the rest of your life, you're training yourself for failure. You're training yourself to not break through success. You always have to believe that Steve Laureus ain't better than me. You know? Nick Rizzo ain't better than me. I could do it too. If you fucking do it, I could do it too. That's always the thing you got to register to the mind.
It's true.
That's excellent to transition into questions now.
Yeah.
That was perfect. That was a little motivating with a little right.
It's a little end. Fuck you.
I love that.
Yeah.
Do you want to start off with some? I got.
Yeah. Let me pull some up.
I got a couple good ones. You know what? I'll start off with one that I just know off the bat in my head, which is, hold on 1 second. It was. Oh God, we are getting crazy feedback from my phone, so I apologize.
That might be mine too.
If anybody hears that. How should I start doing vacuums? You're like one of the go-to people for vacuums now, if not the go-to person for the vacuum. What kind of got you started and able to continually do more and more?
Honestly, I didn't know how to do a vacuum. I think I saw a video on YouTube, and I think Justin Miller, at the time when he was coaching me, he told me that actually with your look, you look sicker when you do a front double bicep with a vacuum. I said, yeah, but I can't hold it for that long. And then he was like, practice. So every time that we went over posing, he would have me do a stomach vacuum for even front lat spread. That's the hardest pose to do a vacuum with, to be honest with you.
Now that I'm thinking about it.
So I hated that pose. I hated it. Still now, it's still not one of my favorite poses to do, front lat spread. So I started doing the vacuum like post cardio. You know, after I do cardio, I would go either in the corner of the gym or I go home, and I would just go home and in an empty stomach, I would suck it in. I would blow all the air out and suck it and pull it all the way back as much as I can, bring the intestines, you know, all the way back to the rib cage. So I would just hold it there, and I would time myself. So I would see if I could hold it for maybe 10, 15 seconds. You know, for the Arnold, I did the same thing. I did every single poses that I could pull a vacuum, and I timed myself and holding it as much as I can. And you know what? Your resistance gets better. It increases. My resistance actually increases to 3 seconds, you know, extra to what I normally hold it for.
You strengthen those internal obliques.
Yes.
The forgotten muscle.
Yeah, it's still muscle. It's
yeah. It's crazy.
So, yeah, it's just practice it every day. You know, me post cardio is the best way of practicing because there's no food, nutrients in my stomach at all. So my stomach is completely empty. So it's easier for me to pull the vacuum that way. Once you start having 3-4 meals into your system, it's extremely difficult to actually pull a deeper vacuum because your stomach is full with food.
And the muscles are full too.
Exactly. So it's a lot harder for you to do it.
So I had an interesting one. Why do you compete?
Wow.
Instead of just being a bodybuilder, cool, whatever. Why do you compete?
We get deep on this podcast, man.
Wow. Like I told everyone before, I never wanted to be a bodybuilder. You know, being a bodybuilding was the last thing that I had in my mind. I love the sport. I train like a bodybuilder because I feel like I always been in shape my whole life. And I take everything, anger, frustration, and what life was bringing me to the gym. You know, I had to break up with a girl, take it to the gym. On my birthday, I'm in the gym. You know, I had some grief, sadness, whatever it is, I take it to the gym. The weight is always my best friend. No matter what it is I'm going through, I'm facing in life, it's always my remedy. So I started doing bodybuilding because after the 11 days I spent in a hospital when I almost died, I said, it's either I go back to school and re-educate and get, you know, a different degree, because I don't want to do therapy for that long anymore because I was getting tired from doing it. I was doing 60 hands-on therapy a week, and myofascial release is very hard on your hands and whatever. So I was a bit ashamed of the way I look because I lost all my size. I came out of the hospital 170 pounds, and it was around this time, you know, 4th of July, you know, 3 years ago. I was actually inside of a house. I was dating this girl. I was actually always indoor. I never even wanted to go outside. So a friend of mine bought me a membership from Powerhouse. She was like, I know you always look amazing. You don't have confidence. You're depressed. Please, you know, let me just buy your membership for a month to go train at Powerhouse Gym in Syosset. I was like, I've never been there. I was like, no, I don't look good. Those guys, they look like, you know, she was like, stop, come on, I'll go with you. So she got me the membership there, and I started training. I was extremely weak. I went through a hell. 6 months in training, I still wasn't getting anywhere. But I feel like my body needed that much time. After a blood clot, it went through so much. Yeah. Because I thought I was going to die. I didn't even think I was going to even live. So 9 months in training, I started thinking about competing. I said, you know what? I'm getting older. You know, people have been telling me that I have a great physique. Why not see if I can do a show? I said, wherever it takes me. You know, I want my son to be proud of me one day and say, wow, this is what my dad looks like. If I'm gone, this is a photo he can always hold on to and say, hey, this is my dad years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I said, I'm going to do it for him, to be honest. And it turned out to be something different. You know, when I first
made a real career out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and with how busy I started getting with bodybuilding, how things turn out, the regular job I had, because I work 14 hours on my feet every day, it was taking away a lot of time that I could have eaten on time. I could have training a certain time. I said, I have to sacrifice one thing to transition into something that I want to, you know, I'm trying to introduce something brand new in my life, but I have to put 100% effort into it. So that got me into bodybuilding.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great. We'll do like a one-off kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we did the vacuum. Who influenced you in pursuing bodybuilding? I guess you could say your son then.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yep.
And have you ever had any serious injuries, I guess, besides the blood clot? So we're talking during your bodybuilding career or even before when you were training. And how did you recover from them?
Okay. I never had a serious injuries. I suffered from inflammation. So inflammation, I was getting something called a patellar tendonitis. Also, I had
patella. That's the knee.
Yes.
Okay.
Patellar tendonitis, and I had another thing which is it's called the olecranon is the elbow. is the elbow joint. Like you can see, like it's basically that ball in your elbow. It's the tip of the elbow. So it's called the olecranon. So behind it is a muscle it's called inconeus, which is the smallest muscle in the body. So that muscle in the olecranon gets extremely, extremely inflamed when I used to do tricep extensions or whatever. So to a point that I had my knee and my right tricep extremely inflamed to a point that I couldn't even lift a cup. That's how bad my elbow was. So I did all type of therapy for it. I did physical therapy, nothing worked. You know, I went to see an orthopedic guy, and you know, he told me I got to ice, I got to do this and that, but nothing helped it until I was transitioning into massage school first, and I was actually sitting on a break, and one girl, actually, she was like, you're always complaining about your elbow and your wrist and your knee and stuff like that. She was like, but if you have all this problem, how are you going to work on people? Like, this is not the right field for you. You're going to be hurting. This is a lot more stress on the body, especially if you're going to do a deep tissue work on someone. Then I was like, yeah, but I don't know. You know, I feel like it's the right thing for me to do right now. She was like, how about you go upstairs and get acupuncture? Then I was like, wait, acupuncture? She was like, yeah, upstairs. We have a whole clinic upstairs, you know. That's where you're going to do your internship. So I basically refused this. I said, yeah, it's not going to do anything for me. She was like,
shaking it off like,
oh my gosh. She was like,
whatever.
What, big guy afraid of needles, being a little sissy. And she really offended me. You know,
I'm super afraid of needles.
She really offended me. And I was like, no, it's not that. She was like, you know what? I suffer from insomnia. I couldn't sleep at night. You know, she's like, she gets a lot of problems when she's getting, you know, on her period and stuff like that. It helped her. Then I said, all right, let me just give it a try. So I went upstairs, and first acupuncture treatment went really well. And the kid that treated me, still this day, I remember his name. There's two twins. And one of them, his name is Scott. He was the main guy that used to work on me. Then he started with a tongue diagnosis. So Eastern medicine is very accurate in a lot of things that they can see within the tongue and the pulse diagnosis. So when the dude was like, let me see your tongue, I said, what kind of gay shit? Like, you know, what kind of gay shit? I said, what kind of gay shit is that? You know, in my mind, I'm looking at him. I'm like, all right, but I'm in the clinic. I don't want to get super, you know, defensive here, but what the hell is that going to do?
You used to have a membership, you know? At Hawks Gym.
Yo, you got to listen to the Rock one.
So he was like, no, it's called, it's like, look, sorry, man, don't get offended. It's called a tongue diagnosis. He says, I'm sure when you were in France or whatever, you know, like, because I told him about my history, where I live, but he was like, don't they do some tongue diagnosis too when you're actually your pediatrician when you were a kid? I said, yeah, sometimes they do. And then he was like, I just need to read what's going on. And
that sounds like some creepy shit that a dude trying to get with a chick, like he's working on a chick, and some creepy fucking dude would be like, "Hey, let me get a tongue diagnosis." Like whispers in her ear. She's like, "Oh God, get the fuck away from me."
So I you know, I said, "All right, fuck it," you know, and I did it. And then he's like, "Wow," he's like, "Dude," you know, he's like, "You don't sleep at night," and I was like, "What?" He's like, "You don't sleep at night." He's like, "You don't rest," and then he was like, you're retaining a lot of water. He's like, you're suffering from stomach stuff. And then he was like, also your diet is shit. You eating a lot of dairy and stuff like that. So it creates a lot of inflammation in your body.
All that from a tongue?
And I said, how the hell do you know that? And then he was like, I just don't want to get too further in, but everything he said was 100% accurate. I couldn't sleep at night. I had a lot of bad dreams. He can tell too. He's like, you have tons of nightmares. Like just looking at my tongue, and I know how to do it now because in massage school, when you're doing acupressure, which is a complete diagnosis of Oriental medicine, if someone is actually having an injury, you know that they tried all type of therapy. Sometimes I think acupressure is the only thing that works. It's not physical. It's emotional. It's what the person is going through. Whether it's a divorce, someone in the family that's like died, it's grief, it can stagnate certain part of your body that can create problems. So
it's like physical psychology in a way.
Basically, yes. Perfect example, like a person that have extreme anger, frustration and anger, They have the diagnosis for someone that has extreme anger and frustration is called a liver qi stagnation. So when you suffer from extreme anger and frustration, you would see the person's eyes is always red.
It's kind of like my exes.
It's always the person eye is always red. I can just look at you with the briefest second and I can tell, I can read a lot of it from it. So it's a very powerful medicine. It's Chinese medicine. So the person's eyes will be very red, and also that person, not to get too physical here, too crazy here, but that person suffered from constipation. It's so much heat and frustration you have in your body. It brings everything uptight. You're a very uptight person. So what comes with that? Inflammation, because you have dry heat in your body. That's what it is. And it's 100% accurate.
That's wild.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, just through a tongue.
That's gotta be the new, like you're on a Tinder date. And you go to the chair. Yo, let me see your tongue real quick. She's like, what? No.
You got tongue pics?
I'm gonna give you. You got tongue pics. You start asking the girls,
that's
so you
the
know
new
all
thing.
their fucking problems.
That's
Like,
the new
she's
thing.
gonna shit the bed.
So you know what it is, guys. I think the reason why I think it makes a lot of sense. Western medicine works as well. This is what we follow in the hospital here. It's very popular here. But when you look at it, is that there's a lot of doctors, they guess. They guess based on genetics and history of a family member of yours. They believe everything is 100% genetics. But it's a guessing game because it's a brand new medicine. Like Western medicine been around 200 years, maybe 200 years. Chinese medicine been around 4,000 years. The two has to be tied in together. Grafting technique, you see what they're doing now. It's basically gua sha. It's been there a long time. The whole thing with cupping, it's Chinese medicine. It's been there for a long time, thousands of years ago, which I would never let a physical therapist put cupping on my body. They don't know what the hell they're doing, So you need to have a really good training of the 5 elements of Chinese medicine, knowing the yin and the yang. Some people say called yin and yang, but in my school, they pronounce it yin and yang. So it's a balance. It's black and white. Everything has to be balanced. In your body, you overworking yourself every day. You have thoughts that it's called overthinking, can't make a decision. It's something called spleen qi deficiency. You know what's happened with that? You're not balanced. There's a meridian in the body that's off. What spleen qi deficiency do to your body, your muscles are always tired. Your muscles are always fatigued. Even your stool, it changes your stool too. The color of it, the way it comes out, because of those thoughts you have every day that you're overthinking all the time. It's very deep. It's almost like speaking another language, and everything tie in together. So I stopped there because I could go all day talking about it.
This is cool shit.
Really interesting.
It's
essentially those things you're thinking about. Obviously, your thoughts don't change your body like that, but they make your body release these chemicals that then change everything.
Change everything around.
It makes me kind of wish that you see kids nowadays where they have anger issues. Take this pill. Take this pill. Take this pill. Yeah. To get kind of a second opinion by somebody who's truly professional in Eastern medicine. And before this podcast, I would have never even considered that, thought of it. You know what I mean?
It's the most powerful treatments I've ever done. I can have anything right now that goes on with my body loves it because you know why? I believe in it. So there's something called interlocking energy, right? So what interlocking energy is, if I go to you're a physical therapist, right? And I heard bad reviews about you, but meanwhile you treated thousands of people and changed their life. Just because Nick told me that, don't go to John. John did this, John did that. I don't believe in you. And no matter what you do to help me that day, I already channeling those things. And I said, this guy's going to fuck my body up. And I have those thoughts driving home saying that, oh my God, this treatment didn't work.
Yeah, you're good right there.
Yeah. It's like, this treatment didn't work. He didn't do anything. And I'm going to call Nick and said, Nick, you know what? You were right. Meanwhile, everything you did was right. But interlocking energy is that you have to believe in someone that's willing to help you. Treatment, it goes on with everything in life. If you don't have faith and believe in something, you know, it's not gonna fucking work. You know, plain and simple. So that's what Chinese medicine is. It's like everything is balanced. You have 12 energy in your body that can be off, that can be related to the way you think, the way you eat, you know, the way you just absorb things, you know, like receive things into your body. And it comes pain. There's 3 types of pain levels. There's pain that stores in there, that's been there from a previous injury. There's pain that comes into the body because you got hurt from something, you know, and there's pain that's been there because of other things that is so uptight that causes these problems. So what is these things? What are you going to do with that? Just physical manual work from a physical therapist, massage therapist sometimes may not work because it's all mental. It's all, I would say, it's all the emotional stress that you have that's stored in the body that's causing the pain.
So even if the physical therapist worked it out for a second, that emotional stress is going to make it happen right again.
Yeah, well, what happens is the physical therapist may work on it today, Wednesday, Friday. What happened, you feel great. You leave the place, you're like, oh my God, I feel amazing. This guy was awesome. And guess what? You've been going to him for 6 months. And then you're like, you know what? I feel good like the first, you know, 3 days, and it comes back. Because you know what? You may be going through a divorce.
That's my point, is the emotion, whatever was happening to you emotionally is triggering that to kick right back in. So whatever, let's call it a knot this time, whatever divorce caused your body to release some sort of chemical that knotted up that specific spot for whatever reason, because the neurons are connected that way. Even though he worked out that knot, that knot's coming right back because that chemical imbalance is still there.
Exactly. That's the reason why when I used to treat people, I don't treat people through pain. Because if you're creating pain by putting that much pressure in something, the skin, the body is like a mattress. If I take 100 pounds of wood, you know, I put it slowly, I just bounce it off the bed. Perfect example, I just drop it, it bounces back, right? So if I take 100 pounds of iron, I slowly placed it on the bed. You know what happened? It sinks right in. It's the same thing too when you're treating a body. You have connective tissues called fascia. It connected everything together. I'm not going to attack the fascia aggressively because you know what? The mind knows that something is trying to do either damage or trying to be aggressive. So your mind is like, what's going on there? What's going on there? So I gotta protect this guy. I gotta protect this guy. Everything tie in and get very tight together. But when you slowly work your way in, the body is like, I'm so relaxed. It'll allow you to go in to find what the problem is. That's it. That's how you treat certain pain and things in the body.
Deep. I like that.
What's funny is a lot of people tuned in here expecting the first half of this podcast, you know, the motivational, where you came from, what happened, to being a savage athlete, to suddenly we're talking about Eastern medicine and doing the total opposite of don't apply so much pressure if there's an injury.
Yang.
Yeah.
See? Yeah, I fucking learn something
I
every day.
I don't really talk about these things online because it's like I don't want to say I'm just a bodybuilder, but I don't want to say I don't have time to reply to everybody that's going to go against my opinions and things I've learned, you know, following the philosophy of Oriental medicine and you know, the Oriental part of the world.
We've got a strong message for those types of people. Fuck off. It's pretty simple. It's pretty strong. It comes out pretty good.
Go suck a yin and a dong.
Yeah. I mean, listen, when it comes down to it, there's always going to be a critic. There's always going to be a keyboard warrior. You could win the Olympia title 10 years in a row, and there'll be somebody that says, fuck Steve, he didn't deserve any of it. There's always somebody. You know
it's true.
You know it.
I've seen what Phil used to go to. I used to read those comments all day, man.
Listen, man, they are ruthless online, and those are the ones that would never say shit to you in person. We said it last week with Alex, said the same thing. The keyboard warriors putting down his transition, putting down all that, everything that he's been through, when realistically, he felt that he needed to do this to make himself happy and feel at ease and where he belonged in the universe. Good on you. Do anything that you want. If you believe in Eastern medicine and it works for your body, and somebody online says, "Oh well, Western medicine is better," tell them to fuck off, or don't even respond to them at all, because that's the best, to not respond to the haters and to just block them out, because everyone's going to have something to say about everything. Everyone's going to have something to say about you skipping the Olympia. Everyone's going to have something to say about Casey quitting the police force. Everyone's a fucking critic. Everyone thinks they know better, and they think that they know as if they were in your shoes and what they would do, and that their decision is the best decision ever. Realistically, they don't know shit.
My favorite. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
My favorite thing is about every single person that's giving you a negative insight to anything. You will never see a negative comment come from somebody doing well in life. Every single person that says, "Oh, you know what, Steve, you look like shit in that picture. You're holding water," I can guarantee you they look like a bag of shit sitting on the couch eating potato chips. Go, he looks too bad. I remember a funny meme that's just sticking out of my head right now. It was a drastically out of shape guy just sitting on the couch, literally eating potato chips, and there was like a beer next to him, and he's watching the Victoria's Secret, like, the runway on TV. He goes, "Her nose is too big. Get the fuck out of here. Come on, man."
Yeah, dude. What were you going to say, Steve?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, what I was going to say is that you got to know how to eliminate the noise, you know? I think I've been through so much shit in my life, man, since I was a kid. I lost my mom. Mom was murdered. You know, I had been through so many things. You know, at one point, you know, my living situation was, you know, like really bad. And it doesn't matter what life brings you. You know, you just have to always believe that, okay, it's a test. And sometimes these things come into your life, man, to make you a better person, or there's a lot more great things coming along. Whether it takes 5 years, 3 years to get it, you know, if you believe that you're going to come out of that hole, bro, you know, the sky's the limit. There's so much shit ahead of you that you're going to be satisfied and happy with later on. So if you believe you're going to stay in that situation, you know, setting yourself a failure, like I said before. You know, it's a powerful thing to think through life, to think through a lot of positivity that is going to come along while you're facing those bad moments.
You know, just like what you said about competing. If you don't think you're going to win, don't do it. You got to have that positive mentality. Otherwise, nothing good's going to come out of it.
When I was being coached by Justin, he used to always tell me, "You don't know who's going to show up. That guy comes in leaner, he's going to beat you." He's right. But I never wanted to repeat that. And I hated when he repeated it.
I was told that when I competed too.
So
of course.
I don't tell me that shit. I don't want to fucking know about that guy. I don't give a shit about that guy. You know, when it comes down to it, that guy has 2 legs and 2 arms like me. He's not better than me. You know, I don't give a fuck what he did. You know, it's all about what I'm going to do and bring into the stage. Whether I look like shit, I still don't want to believe someone is better than me, because I don't want to put that in my mind. You can call it arrogant and fucking cocky as much as you want. But if that guy beats me, I go backstage. Guys, you know, "Oh, dude, you look awesome. Thank you for pushing me." The Olympia, I went backstage. I shake everyone's hand before they got on stage. I did that. Arnold, I went around and did the same. I shook everybody's hand, guys that was eyeballing me, guys that were super nice to me. It didn't make no fucking difference. I looked at that guy. I said, "Dude, you know, you look great. Good luck. Go out there and do your thing." That's just the way it is. I don't want to create any negativity, any negative energy around me, you know, because I think I'm better than this guy or he's better than me. Fuck that. You know, we supporting the sport to be great. So I don't want to create hate, you know, and knowing that, all right, I went against this guy, I fucking hate that guy. I'm not going to bring that home. I'm not going to bring that to my house. I'm going to leave it out there. If I don't really like someone, yeah, if you're going to disrespect me, I'm going to stand my guards. But if you never say anything to me, you have a bad energy, I'm going to approach you. "Hey, man, what's up? How you doing?" Shake your hands and walk away. Make you feel like shit. That's it.
And you know what? From everything you've experienced, you know, even the negativity in your house at all, it's going to make you look worse.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
I wanted to see if we had another question. And then I think we can wrap.
Yeah,
this is phenomenal, man. This
took a turn that I certainly didn't expect.
Yeah. The whole reason we started this, and we tell everybody this in the podcast, outside the podcast, we're not trying to get famous. We're not trying to do anything. We're realistically just trying to bring interesting people that we know and we have the luxury of knowing and bringing them into the spotlight more than just a 10-second or a 15-second Instagram story or a minute Instagram video or a 10-minute YouTube video. Yeah. Nobody really gets to know anybody and know what they're about and really hear not only what they've been through, but what makes them tick. And realistically, anybody that we ask to come on this show, we're very selective on who we're asking to come on because we want to make sure that the person that comes on here brings depth. I don't want somebody that's just a fucking bodybuilder. I don't care.
What fun is that?
Exactly.
Oh, well, you know what? Well, yesterday I ate 6 meals and really no shit.
Wow. Good for you.
I picked up the weights.
Yeah. It's boring, man. And listen, me photographing and videoing everybody and getting to know everybody, people are very one-dimensional as a whole. But you, Arash, everybody that we're asking to come on, there's a side of you that not a lot of people get to hear, get to see. There's a very intellectual side to all you guys. You're not just a bunch of dumb meatheads that lift weights. And it's inspiring to hear you guys speak, not only so educated and so well, but on subjects that many people didn't know you had knowledge base on.
Yeah, well, thank you, man.
Yeah, of course, dude.
I always tell, like, honestly, even going to the gym and train, when people always expect you to talk about chicken breast and rice and sweet potatoes.
It's like the same shit.
It's the whole thing, the whole concept of bodybuilding. I believe that this method that everyone's follow, and everybody do the same old thing. They do the same. Yes, you're gonna diet 10 weeks out. You're gonna do this. You're gonna do that. You're gonna do this. With the training style, with the diet, there's nothing different. It's a slight change that all the coaches will use something different and trying to trademark it and say, all right, this is what I do. This is what he did. It's not going to work. This is what I do. No, you're just fucking making money. You're making money. Yes, you may care about that person if you get to know him on that level. But at the same time, it's bullshit. It's the same shit you learned from all of these other guys 5 years ago, 10 years ago that actually trained you and coached you. You're passing it along and trying to tweak things here and there. But I don't do that. I don't do the same old thing all year round. Like right now, I would say that I had a long break with when I came off the Arnold and stuff like that. I'm trying to live my life. I have a son. Which
not a lot of people know.
They don't really
Which is
know.
good because it's good that you keep your personal life personal.
Yes. Yeah. Some people said, why you never post your son? Why don't you? My son has nothing to do with bodybuilding. It has nothing to do with this organization. I'm not going to put my son out there because the time that I spent with him, if he wants to do it when he gets older, whatever, like he wants to go to social media or whatever, that's on him. Yeah, of course, I'll post with him. But right now, all I'm worried about is him staying healthy, give him good, a good drive, how to raise him the right way, to be a good man, to be a good person, to always do the right thing. So that's my job, to direct him in that direction. So if he doesn't go that direction, I'm gonna believe in myself like I failed, but people are still gonna do what they want to do when they get older. To be honest, it's his decision. But bodybuilding is a great sport. I love bodybuilding, but at the same time, it's a very toxic sport as well. There's a lot of arrogance. There's a lot of hate. There's a lot of It's so competitive. You don't find much love. To me, it's not like it's different than anything else that I've ever done. It's very competitive, but I don't want to carry that 12 months out of the year and is bodybuilding. I want to enjoy nature. I want to go out there. I want to go to the beach and have fun. I don't want to eat chicken breasts and fucking sweet potatoes all year round. I want to have some sushi. I want to have some ice cream. I want to do it as much as I can after meeting my goal, knowing that I won that show or I should have won that show, you know, that's the thing. That's the whole secret with me, the way I do things, is just tick off that much time and shock my body with something that it misses for a long time. And it just responds quick. That's it. You know?
I think that was a great.
That was a great ending, right?
Ending, man. You know, the question. We had a couple other questions, but they're very small. You touched on so much.
Most of them were already answered. Yeah.
Yeah, you touched on so much, and a lot of it was touched upon on a lot of what you were saying. So, on behalf of myself, and I know John will say his outro as well, I want to thank you for coming in today, because it was an absolute pleasure. You are the high-key homie from day one. You already know that. Listen, man, you've put me on. You've gotten me a lot of different jobs for videography and photography, and not only am I forever grateful for that, but I am forever grateful that you are a very close friend of mine and a brother, and I love you, and I love seeing you do well, and you're the homie, man. You already know that. So thank you again for coming in today, because I know it means a lot to hear everybody that's listening, to hear more about you than what they just see on a daily basis in the gym and what they see on social media. And that's big for me, and I think that's big for you too. So
thank you, man. Thank you so much, man. To me, coming here and talk about a lot of things you didn't know about makes me feel good about myself. I didn't know this podcast was going on until the second week you had it, maybe.
Yeah,
at the gym.
We were kind of keeping it under wraps, but not under wraps. It was like weird. We were talking about it, but
so
we were excited.
And then when I saw this guy, and I'm like, oh, The Voice. So I said, yeah, I remember. He said hello to me. I was like, oh shit, you know, for the first time.
Is there a truck in here?
Shit, you know, but he disappeared. I haven't seen him ever since, but he started doing his own thing, his business. But, you know, congrats, man. You're doing good things.
Thank you, Steve.
You know, always strive for greatness, man. Don't sit on that same spot. That's it.
You know what? When you sit, nothing happens.
Yep, it's true.
That's it.
So, and Nick is a good friend. He's the homie. Sometimes I forgot he's a white dude. You know, I forget that he's a white dude.
Right. So I'm white enough for the both of us.
So
I tell every chick I'm with, I'm like, I don't think you realize, like, so I am definitely in the wrong body.
So I don't. Sometimes I just forget, because you know the way he just like do certain things. I'm like, no fucking way, you know. But dude, it's a pleasure, man, coming here. I'm very excited with this whole thing you got going on here, and I wish you the best of luck with it. Hopefully this thing becomes something great that you're making money off later on in life. So
if it does, if it doesn't, we either way we've got great information coming out there.
I told this guy to do stand-up comedy. He refuses. Like, I've been telling him this.
Steve, listen. I told you, I don't like public speaking. I will fart and I will pass out in front of a big audience. Do you want that from your Do you want that from your boy? Do you want to see me embarrassed on that level? Let me MC the. You know what? I'll do it for you. I'll MC the Arnold. Okay, next year.
If you have to.
Yeah,
if you must.
If you're pulling my arm, you know, I guess I'll do it for you.
Yeah, man. But thank you, guys. Thank you, John. You know, and I'm excited to see who's going to be coming in next week for the next one.
Yeah. So we're still hammering out the guests. I'm still trying to get Marco to come on.
Yeah,
Marco's got a lot of good shit that he wants to talk about.
Honestly, I'm actually very interested to hear what he's going to talk about. If you have him to come here, but guys, he's a very, very inspirational guy to bring in. You know, his story is phenomenal.
Just the Pam incident of the can exploding on him, man.
Yes, crazy.
Yes.
I mean, I have that, like I said to you before, I'm editing that video for Muscular Development right now, Latino. I'm finishing that up tonight, and I'm going to get to them tomorrow. But I have like an hour and a half of him talking about not only his life, but the can exploding, to competing, to doing his last show. I mean, really great stuff. But unfortunately, because it's a video, I have to edit a lot of it down
So
to make it a 20-30 minute. But something like this, which is more free form, he can talk as long as he fucking wants, and he can get everything out there.
I had 30-minute conversation with him at the New York Pro. I didn't want to leave a second. You know, I had to go back to my booth, but I didn't want to leave because the guy is just something else.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Amazing.
His wife's going to come on too. She's unbelievable as well.
Wow.
But yeah.
Yeah, so maybe if we keep screaming for Marco, we'll get a polo back. I had to say it.
I'm just gonna keep
It's been
texting.
sitting in my head.
I'm just gonna keep texting him like selfies of myself. Like, you coming on, bro?
Just in the pool.
Come on, come on, come on.
In the pool. Marco. But that's it. Steve, really thanks for coming on. I didn't know you nearly this well. And I'm sure even Nick, we both learned a lot today.
Wow,
and
thank you guys. That means a lot
you know
to
what?
me.
Even your followers are going to listen to this. You said you never posted about the Eastern medicine.
No.
That's beyond fascinating to me. As if I didn't, make that clear enough. So, thanks, and I'm sure we're going to have you back on one of these days, right?
Yeah.
Down the road.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
There's no reason not to.
You invited me in, man. I can go all day, you know?
Yeah.
We'll talk about some more stuff. We'll do something in the fall, and we'll get you on, and you'll start talking about how the off season's been going.
Definitely.
And
Right,
going
right,
and
right.
starting prep for the Arnold.
Yeah.
I think that'd be great.
We
That'd be a great
will
one.
be starting off season actually the first week of August.
Nice.
Beautiful.
You know, so I'm super excited. Me and Coach was talking about it yesterday. So we're trying to get the ball rolling because it's like 8 months.
And we'll both talk to Neil, and if he comes up here to train with you or something like that, we'll get both of you in here, and that'd be
Yeah.
cool to hear
That'd be
both
a
of you
great
talk.
one.
Yeah, that would be awesome, man.
So that's it.
That's it.
Until
man.
next time, guys. This has been The Voice.
And Rizzles.
All right.
Steve.
And Steve Laureus. Guys, thank you so much for listening to this. And until next time.
Peace.